Now, in today's session, we are going to discuss about collection classes. As of now, you are aware of what exactly a class, what exactly an object, how can we define the members inside the class, how can we access those members, and how can we manage the elements available inside that classes, like as assigning the values, retrieving the values, and everything we have discussed over there. Now, today's session, we are going to discuss about collections. So what exactly the collections? What is the use of collection? And why we have to go for collections? Why can't we manage the elements with the help of the arrays? And what kind of collections that we have in Apex programming? And how to use those collections to manage the elements? We'll see practically here. Now, as of now, we have discussed about a concept called as arrays. So now when coming to the array is also a collection type. Nothing but this is also a collection where it can able to hold a collection of elements of similar type. Okay. When coming to the array is going to be holding a collection of elements of similar type. Nothing but only homogeneous elements we can able to store. Homogeneous means the same data type elements we can able to store inside an array variable. If you want to store some multiple values inside a single variable, then the programming language will not allow to store. So whenever you are assigning some new value to the same variable, then the previous value will be overriding with the new value automatically by default. So that we cannot able to hold multiple values inside a single variable. So that to hold a collection of values inside a variable, we have used that arrays. Now arrays are supporting to store a collection of values inside a variable. But the problem is arrays will not support to store the different types of elements inside a single variable. If you're defining an array of type integer, only integer elements it will accept. If you're defining an array of type double, only double elements it will accept. If you're defining an array of type some boolean, only the boolean elements it will accept here. The multiple types of elements, nothing but the heterogeneous elements we cannot able to store inside an array variable. That is the first problem that we have. Now, when coming to the arrays here, drawbacks in arrays. Inside the arrays, we have identified some drawbacks here. The first one is arrays supports to store only homogeneous elements. We can't store heterogeneous elements inside the array. This is the first drawback here. The second drawback, the second problem is when coming to the array, arrays are purely supporting the static memory allocation. They are not supporting dynamic memory allocation here. Nothing but what happened whenever you are defining an array, then compulsorily and mandatorily we have to specify the size of an array. Nothing but how many number of elements that you are going to store. Suppose if you know how many number of elements that you are going to receive, we can specify. But there might be some situations where we don't know how many number of elements we are going to receive. It may be 10, it may be 20, it may be 1,000, it may be 1 lakh, whatever, we don't know. So, but at that time, how can we specify that size? If I'm specifying some size of some 1,000, but if I'm getting some 2,000 element, then the remaining elements will be lost. But I don't want to lose my data here. So now when coming to the arrays are purely insisting, they are enforcing you to specify the size of the array. Based on that size only, it is going to be allocating the memory by default at the time of definition. Nothing but arrays are purely supporting the static memory allocation here. array supports static memory allocation. So now whenever you are using the static memory allocation, for example, I have specified the size as 10, nothing but 10 elements I am going to store. But I have stored only 2 elements. Then what about the remaining 8 elements memory? That will be wastage here. Nothing but when coming to the static memory allocation, the main problem is memory wastage. Now, if you are using all the 10 elements memory storage, then no problem here. If you are using only 2 elements or 3 elements or 4 elements of storage, the remaining memory will be getting wastage. Nothing but there is no proper memory management inside that static memory allocation. So now hence, it causes memory wastage. It causes memory wastage. And the third point here, when coming to the array, okay, when coming to the array, whenever you are going to be defining that array, okay, whenever you are going to be defining that array, we have to specify the size over here. Based on that size only, we can able to store those elements here. Now, whenever you are going to be storing the elements inside this array, at that time, I have specified the size as 10, but I want to store some more elements inside that array, but that is not possible. Suppose, for example, I have stored some 10 elements here. I want to remove some 2 elements from the array here. That is not possible. Nothing but what happened when coming to the array size cannot be grow, array size cannot be shrink at runtime. Depends upon the size that you have specified at the time of definition, that much of memory will be getting allocated, and then it will be that memory will be fixed. The memory cannot be increased, the memory cannot be decreased at runtime here. Now, array memory size cannot be grow or shrink at runtime. This is the third drawback here. The fourth drawback is when coming to the array, whatever the elements that you are going to store, whatever the element that you are going to fetch. Now, in order to manage those elements, we have to write the code through programmatically here. We don't have any ready-made methods in Salesforce in order to manage the elements inside that array here. Nothing but we don't have any ready-made methods to manage the elements exist inside the array. So these are few drawbacks are available when coming to the array, but there might be some situations where I would like to store some collection of heterogeneous elements. Sometimes I want to store similar type of elements, sometimes I want to store dissimilar type of elements also here. But at that time, arrays will not be supported. Arrays will not be useful. So for that here, Apex programming has introduced collections. So now what exactly the collections here? When coming to the collections, collection classes allows us to manage the elements of type, similar type, as well as dissimilar type also. Nothing but it may be the homogeneous elements, it may be the heterogeneous elements also. We can able to manage all these types of elements inside a single collection. And then when coming to the collection, not only holding the elements of type primitive types, we can able to hold all the types of elements here. We can hold some primitive type of elements. We can hold some S-object type of elements. We can store some Apex types of elements. Everything we can able to store inside that. That flexibility will be available to you here. And that too, when coming to the collections, collections are purely supporting the dynamic memory allocation. No need to specify any size initially. Depends upon the number of elements keep on you are adding at runtime. It is going to be keep on extending the memory automatically. Depends upon the number of elements you are removing the collection at runtime, the memory will be getting decreased. Nothing but what happened when coming to the collection size will be keep on increasing automatically based on the number of elements that you have added at runtime. And whenever you are removing some element from the collection at runtime, the memory size will be getting decreased automatically here. Nothing but there is no concept of memory wastage. Whenever you need some memory elements, then you can extend the memory. Whenever you don't want the element, then memory will be getting decreased. Nothing but the memory utilization will be very, very efficient when coming to that collections here. That much of advantages are available when coming to the collection classes here. Now let's see. Now, by using collections, we can manage both homogeneous and heterogeneous elements. We can able to manage both homogeneous and heterogeneous elements inside a collection. Inside a single collection, we can able to store both homogeneous elements and the heterogeneous elements we can able to store. This is the most first advantages available when coming to the collection. And collections will support dynamic memory allocation, which provides the efficient utilization of memory. When coming to the collection, we can store unlimited number of elements inside the collection. There is no limit over here. There is no limit available when coming to the collections. Whatever the elements that you want, we can able to store those elements inside this collection here. Now, the collection size can grow or shrink at runtime. Depends upon the number of elements added by the user at runtime. Now the collection size can grow or shrink at runtime, depends upon the number of elements added by the user at runtime. Now whenever you are going to be keep on adding some elements inside that collection, then automatically it is going to be extending that size automatically by default. And that too, when coming to the collection, if you want to manage the element, then nothing but to adding the element, to retrieving the element, to removing the element, to finding out for an element, then no need to write any programming code. Salesforce is providing some ready-made methods available here. Now, Apex provides a collection of ready-made methods to manage the elements exist inside the collection. In order to manage the elements inside that collection, we are going to be using the ready-made methods offered by the Apex programming language. Now then, what are the various collections available in Salesforce here? Apex provides the below collection classes. When coming to the interview point of view, this is a standard question. What are the various collections that we have in Salesforce? Now in our Salesforce, we are having 3 collection classes are available. One is the list collection, second one is the set collection, and the third one is the map collection. These are the three collection classes are available here. What are the various collections available in Salesforce? This is a standard question. And one more question is, what is the difference between list collection and the set collection? This is a standard question. Now, so what exactly the list collection? What exactly the set collection and the map collection? We'll see one by one. So now when coming to the listed collection, nothing but these are all are nothing but the classes. Okay, these are all are nothing but the classes. Now in these classes, what we have is we can able to store some elements inside that. We can able to manage those elements also by using the ready-made methods offered by the Apex programming by default as part of these classes. Nothing but list is nothing but a class. Set is nothing but a class. Map is nothing but a class. Everything is available in terms of the classes only because this is purely object-oriented programming. So that by using this class, we can able to manage the elements. Okay, we can able to manage the elements inside that, and we can able to set for some elements. We can able to remove some elements. Everything we can able to perform by using these collections over here. Now, first we'll see what exactly the listed collection. When coming to the listed collection here, when coming to the listed collection, list is an ordered collection. List is an ordered collection. Ordered collection means what? Whatever the order that you have added the elements into the collection, in the same order, the elements will be available inside that. For example, assume that I'm sending one SMS here. Inside that SMS, I have typed almost 600 characters inside that. Nothing but a very lengthy SMS I have prepared. Now, when coming to the SMS, I'm sending this SMS to some of my friends, or it may be one person, it may be two persons. In that SMS, it is having some 600 characters are there. But when coming to my mobile, there is some limitation is there. Each and every SMS can able to have maximum of some 200 characters. Okay, every SMS will be having some 200 characters over here. Now, at that time, what happened when you click on send the button to send that SMS, whatever the SMS content that you have prepared, that whole SMS will be dividing into three SMSs automatically. Because totally 600 characters are there, each SMS can able to hold maximum of 200 characters, so that that whole SMS will be dividing into three SMSs automatically. It will be charging the amount for the three SMSs here. Now, once the SMS has been sent, whenever it is going to be receiving by the recipient mobile number, then how this SMS information will be getting displayed? In the jumbling order? No. Whatever the order that I have typed, it is going to be displaying that SMS to the recipient person in the same order which I have typed over here. Even though while sending this SMS, it will be dividing that SMS into the multiple SMSs also here. But at the time of recipient, it is going to be displaying like as exactly the same order which I have typed, which I have entered that content. The content will be exactly in the same order here. Now, here also, when coming to the listed collection, list is an ordered collection. Ordered collection means whatever the order that you have added the elements in the same order, the elements will be available inside the collection. Nothing but it is going to be preserving the insertion order. Now, this is called as ordered collection here. Now, list is an ordered collection. When coming to the listed collection, list is an ordered collection. That is, the elements will be available in the collection in the same order as they were inserted. That is, list collection will preserve the insertion order. Now, when coming to the listed collection is going to be preserving the insertion order over here. Now, for example, assume that if you are adding some elements like as 100 and 200 and the 300, then the elements will be available in the same order here. So now, in this kind of scenario here, when coming to the listed collection, list is an ordered collection where the elements will be available inside the collection in the same order which they were inserted. Whatever the order that you have added the elements, in the same order the elements will be available inside the collection over here. Now, the second one, the listed collection will support to store primitive type of elements, and apex types, subject types, collection types, and user defined types. When coming to the listed collection will support to store the primitive type of elements, apex type of elements, nothing but the apex classes information also we can store it as an elements, subject type of elements, collection type of elements, and the user defined type of elements. Everything we can able to store inside that listed collection here. Nothing but listed collection is going to be supporting to store the different types of elements over here. And whenever you are storing that list elements inside that listed collection supports dynamic memory allocation. So that then keep on we can able to store some number of elements at runtime. Depends upon the number of elements that you have keep on added to the collection, the memory size will be keep on extending automatically by default. So now whenever you are managing that or whenever you are allocating the memory dynamically at runtime, then at that time there is no memory wastage will be happen. Nothing but so that we can utilize the memory very efficiently. Now, when coming to the listed collection here, whenever you are going to be adding that elements, will the listed collection will allow the duplicate values? Yes. Even though we are using that collections. Inside this collection, we can able to store the same elements multiple times also here. Now, this is very, very important in the entry point of view here. Listic collection will allows to store duplicate elements also. Duplicate elements also here. Now, when coming to the listic collection here, listic collection will be allowing us to store duplicate elements also. It is supporting the duplicate elements as well here. And next one, when coming to the listic collection here, now whenever you are going to be keep on adding the element, then automatically memory will be getting extended here. Nothing but the size of that collection will be keep on extending here. Whenever you are removing that element from the collection, automatically size will be getting decreased. Nothing but here it is providing that listic collection size can grow or shrink at runtime. So now whatever the listed collection that we have, the listed collection size can grow or shrink at runtime. That flexibility will be available to you over here. Now then at that time, how can we define this listed collection? Now let's see practically here. Now the syntax. We have to specify the class list, specify the data type, what type of element that you want to store, and specify the object name equals to new list of data type. Nothing but like as object creation only, that's it. Because this is also a class. If you want to access the member, then we have to create the object of that class. That's it here, nothing else. So now, when coming to the listic collection is used to store both the similar type of elements and the dissimilar type of elements also we can able to store inside that. So now the listic collection will be supporting to store the primitive type of elements, apex types, subject types, collection types, and the user defined types. All the types of elements will be getting supported over here. And then whenever you are going to be defining that particular listic collection, if you want to restrict that listic collection has to be get stored only integer, then we can able to restrict that with the help of by specifying the data type over here. Now we can create that object of that listic collection, and then by specifying the data type, and then we can able to store only those types of elements inside that listic collection also. Now let's see here how can we create this listic collection objects here. For example, list of integer. I'm giving the object name as customer IDs. New list of integer. Nothing but this is the collection here. No need to specify any size over here. Now what this collection can able to store, this listic collection can able to store a collection of integer values here. It can hold a collection of integer elements. A collection of integer elements can be held inside this collection over here. Suppose if you want to store only the string elements here, then you can define list of string, customer names, new list of string. Now it can able to hold a collection of string elements inside it. Now when coming to this collection can able to hold a collection of string elements here. And then if you want to store only the IDs, record IDs, you can store that here. Record IDs. New list of ID. Now it can hold a collection of 18 character IDs. Now, after that, if you want to store some elements of type S subject types here. So at that time, we can able to specify that information like list of account. I'm giving some object name here, LST accounts equals to new list of account. Now what this collection can able to store, it can able to hold a collection of elements where each element is an account record. Each element is an account record here. In that record, what we have, we can able to have some multiple values inside that. Okay, we can able to have some multiple values inside that. If you want to store some other elements here, nothing but opportunity. List of opportunity, LST, opt. I'm giving that object name here. New list of opportunity. Now this collection can able to hold what? A collection of elements here. Now, it can able to hold a collection of opportunity records inside it. And if you want to store your custom object information here, list of position underscore underscore C, new list of position underscore underscore C. Now this collection is able to hold, it can hold a collection of position records inside it. If you want to store some customer records here or candidate records, candidates equals to new list of candidate. Now we can able to store a collection of candidate records. We can store now candidate records. We can able to store a collection of candidate records here.
Feroz, one question.
Yeah.
So all these examples relate to single data type, right? So how can we store a heterogeneous data inside a list?
Yeah. So for that we can specify ls list of object. New list of object. Now this object can able to hold any type of element here. Now it can able to hold a collection of heterogeneous elements. It may be any type of element we can able to store inside that. All the primitive type of elements here. If you want to store the different types of a subject type element, then we can able to use list of a subject. New list of a subject. Now it can able to hold a collection of heterogeneous a subject type elements. So for that here we can able to store the different types of elements inside that.
Feroz, account, opportunity, candidate, all those things are S objects, right?
Yes, that's what. We are having the test subject type is there, which is a standard data type given by the Salesforce to you. Now in that data type, we can able to store all the types of records inside that. When moving forward, we are going to discussing this also, a subject type also here.
Okay.
Now, so now in this collection, we can able to store a collection of a subject types over here. Now this is the way we are going to storing the similar type of elements as well as dissimilar type of elements also inside a list collection over here. Now when coming to the list collection, not only storing the primitive type of elements, we can able to store the primitive type of elements, apex type of elements, yes subject type of elements, and the collection type of elements also inside that we can able to store. Now then how can we store the collection type of elements here? Now this point is very, very important here. Now list collection supports the nested list collection, nested lists up to 5 levels. Nothing but not only storing the primitive type of elements or the subject type of elements and the collection type of elements, we can store one list collection inside another list collection also. Inside that list collection, one more we can able to store. Nothing but that nested list collection also will be supported by the list collection to you. Now, in this kind of scenario here, when coming to the list collection, okay, when coming to the list collection, observe this one here. Now, for example, now list of, list of, list of, list of, list. Now I'm specifying some string. LST collection equals to new list collection here. Nothing but what happened here, up to 5 levels we have used inside this. Up to 5 levels we have used inside this collection over here. Now observe this one. That's what here the list collection. List collection is going to be supporting the nested list. Nothing but we can able to use one list collection inside that nested list collection or inside in another list collection up to 5 levels. This is the limitation here. This limit is very, very important in the certification as well. So now when coming to the list collection, we can able to store one list collection information into another list collection up to 5 levels. That flexibility will be available inside that list collection to you. Now, so now whenever you are going to be storing that elements, then each and every element inside that list collection can be identified by using an index position here. Okay, whatever the elements are available here. Now, each element inside the list collection will be identified by using an index position. By using an index position which starts from 0. Which starts from 0. Each and every element will be identified by using their index position here, where the index position will be starting from 0 like as your arrays itself. First element will be at the 0th index position, second element will be at the first position, and the third element will be at the second position. Like that here, every element can be identified by using that index position inside that list collection here, where the index position will be starting from 0 always. Now, so now when coming to the list collection, this is the way we are defining that list collection, which we have discussed just now here. Now, how can we manage the elements inside this list collection here? To manage the elements inside the list collection, it provides a set of methods by default, ready-made methods. Ready-made methods by default. Now, What are the various methods available here? Now let's see. All these methods are instance method, nothing but each and every method can able to access by using object name dot the method name here. Okay, object name dot method name. Now, so now for example here, assume that I'm defining a list collection, list of string. Nothing but this collection can able to hold a list of string type of element. Nothing but every element inside this collection will be of type string. Now list of string, I'm giving that name like as lst names, new list of string. I'm creating the collection here. No need to specify any size because the size will be getting decided dynamically at runtime. Keep on whenever you are adding some elements, automatically size will be keep on increasing by default over here. Now, so now we have defined this list collection over here. Once you have defined this list collection, now the object will be getting created here, but there is no memory will be allocated. Why? Because there is no elements available here. Whenever if you're adding one element, then the required amount of memory will be getting allocated. If you're adding one more element, then some more memory will be getting allocated. If you're adding one more element, then some more memory allocated. Nothing but like that. Depends upon the number of elements that you are keep on adding, automatically the memory will be keep on extending by default here. Then how can we add the elements inside this collection here? For that, we are using that method. The first method is add method, where we have to specify that element name. Nothing but by using this add method, what we can do, we can able to add a new element into that collection here. Okay, by using this add method, we can able to add a new element into the collection here. This method is used to add a new element to the collection. Now in this kind of scenario here, whenever if the collection is empty, then my element will be the first element here. If the collection is already holding some element, then where will be my element? My element will be at the end of the list here. Okay, now this method will add the new element at the end of the collection. At the end of the collection here. Now then how many elements we can able to add? Only one element we can able to add with the help of this add method. Add method is used to add only one element at a time, not the multiple elements here. We can able to add only one element at a time by using this method. If you want to add the multiple element, then we have to call this add method multiple times over here. Now, then how can we add the elements here? Now, what is this particular collection name? Collection name is nothing but this is the object here. Nothing but this is the object name. LST names. Nothing but we have to call this method by using what? Object name dot method name, because this is a list is a class. Inside the list class, we are having so many methods are available, like as the add method. If you want to call any method from the class, then we have to create the object of the class and we can able to access that method here. Now for that here I'm adding these elements here. LST names dot add. I'm adding that element like some welcome. LST names dot add. I'm adding some elements like some apex. LST names dot add. I'm adding an element like some Hyderabad. I'm adding an element here. LST names dot add of. I'm passing some value here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like that, we can able to add the multiple elements also one by one here by using this add method. By using this add method, we can able to add only one element at a time. If we want to add the multiple element, then we have to use that add method multiple times. Now, whenever you are going to be adding this element, each and every element will be available at the specific index position. This will be having at the index position 0. And this will be having that at the index position 1. And then this will be available at the index position 2. Nothing but each and every element will be available at the specified index position over here. Now, keep on, it is going to be adding the number of elements over here. Now, the second method here. Now, whenever you are going to be adding the elements, whatever the order that you have added the elements, in the same order, the elements will be available inside the collection here. That's what here already we have discussed. The first point inside that list collection is list is an ordered collection. Okay, this is an ordered collection where the insertion order will be getting preserved. Whatever the order that you added the elements, in the same order the elements will be getting displayed to you. The same order the elements will be available inside that collection. These are not storing like a jumbling order here. Now, so now suppose for example there might be some requirement where I would like to add the element at the specified index position over here. I want to add the new element at the specified first index position here. Then what we can do? For that, here it is providing one more method called as add. Add of integer index position. And then the second one is the element name here. Two parameters we have to supply over here. We have to supply the two parameters over here. Now in this add method, we have to pass the two parameter values, nothing but two input values we have to supply, where the first parameter, nothing but the first input value is going to be describing the what is the index position in which you would like to add the element here. And then what is the element name here, which element you would like to add. Now, by using this method, we can insert a new element at the specified index position. In order to insert that element at the specified index position, we can able to add like this here. So for that, we have to use the object name dot add. I'm passing it 1 comma. I'm passing some value called as some India. Then what will happen here in this case? Now, whenever you are going to be adding that element, this element India will be adding after the welcome, and then the apex will be getting skipping down to the next level. Nothing but this will be escalating to the next level automatically here. Nothing but the elements will not be get removed. Element will be getting throwing down to the next level over here automatically by default. Now, the third method here. Integer size method. What exactly the size method? This size method is going to be returning how many number of elements are available inside this collection. In order to get the size, already you are aware of this method inside this array. Like the similar fashion, we can able to get that size of the collection also by using this size method.
Feroz, one question.
Yeah.
So we have 4 elements inside that list now. Index 0, 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
By using the second method, add an integer index position and element name. So since we have 4 elements, if we want to add an element, kind of as a 6th or 7th element, is that possible? Because already the size is only 4.
It won't allow to you here because it will be giving that message to you index out of bound exception. Okay.
Oh, okay. So we can add an element in between, and that is allowed within the size of the list, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Okay. So now this size method is going to be returning the number of elements available inside this collection over here.
Feroz, is the integer keyword mandatory in the example?
No.
Or just
we have to specify this one here. Just you have to specify that the number. Okay, nothing but which index position you want to add that element, and then which element you want to add. That's it.
Yeah, no need of integer keyword,
no need of integer keyword, because here I have given that information because this parameter is of type integer here.
Okay, got it. Yeah, thank you very much.
Now, so now this method will return an integer value. It will return an integer value which indicates the number of elements exist in the collection. If you want to know how many number of elements available inside the collection, then we have to use this method here. So for that, we have to use a list in names dot size. Now it is going to be returning how many number of elements are available inside this collection here. For that, we are using size method. And the fourth method here, boolean is empty method. Now, what is the use of this is empty method? In order to know whether that collection is empty or not, nothing but if there is any elements are available or not. To know that, we are using that is empty method. Now, this is empty method is going to be returning a boolean value. Nothing but it is returning true or false. Then when it will returns true, when the specified collection is empty, if there is no elements are available, 0 elements are available, then it is returning the value as true, or else it will be returning false here. Now, this method is used to identify whether the collection is empty or not. And then it will returns true when the collection is empty, else it returns false. Else it returns false. For example, a list in names dot is empty. We can able to get that. It is returning either true value or false values to you. And next one. The next method is add all. Okay, add all method here. Now here we can specify the collection. The collection name we can able to specify over here. Nothing but as of now we have added each and every element separately one by one. But assume that already I'm having a collection. A collection of elements are available. That collection may be either in array, the collection may be either a list collection, the collection may be either a set collection, whatever here. So at that time, if you want to dump a collection of elements into your new collection, then we can able to use add all. Nothing but add all method is going to be adding all the elements available inside this specified collection into your collection automatically here. So now for that we are using add all method. This method is used to add a collection of elements from the source collection to the target collection, or all the elements from the source collection to the target collection. For example, I'm defining a string array here. Country names, new string array. Here I'm specifying some elements over here, like as some India, some USA, some UK, some Japan, some China. Like that I have added some elements here. If you want to dump all these elements into your LST names collection, then we can able to dump here. For that we can specify LST names dot add all. Then simply specify the collection name, country names. Then automatically whatever the elements are available inside this country names collection, all these elements will be getting adding into your list collection automatically by default. In a single shot, we can able to dump a collection of elements from one source collection to the target collection. The possibility will be available to you here. The next one, the next method is get method. Now, so what is the use of this get method? Get method is used to retrieve the element from the collection. As of now, we have inserted. It may be at the end of the collection by using add method directly. It may be at the middle position by using the second add method. It may be to add the collection of elements in a single shot by using add all, whatever. We have used these methods to add the elements here. Now then, how can we get the element here? Whenever if you want to fetch the element, then always we have to fetch the element based on that index position. Okay, based on that index position, we have to fetch that element here. So already that we have discussed that when coming to the listed collection, each and every element will be getting identified by using an index position which is starting from 0. Okay, which is starting from 0 here. So now, in this kind of scenario, if you want to get an element which is available at the specified index position, we have to use get method here. This method will return the element exists at the specified index position. Exists at the specified index position here. For example, if you want to get the element, then get of some index position 1, we can able to fetch that here, which is going to be returning the value called as some apex to you. If you want to get the element, list in names dot get. Suppose I'm specifying that index position like as size, then what it will return, it will throw the exception here. It will throw the exception index out of bound. Automatically it is going to throw in that exception, that is index out of bound exception, automatically it will written by the collection class to you here. Now, the next method here. The next method is remove method here. So now what is the use of this remove method? Now based on the index position, we can able to remove that element from that collection over here. Now, by using this method, we can remove an element exist at the specified index position. Whatever the element is available at the specified index position, that element we can able to remove from this collection by using that remove method here. For example, lst names dot remove, where we can specify the index position here. Nothing but I'm specifying 2. Now this is the way we can able to remove the element from the collection here. Suppose if you want to remove, okay, suppose if you want to remove all the elements from the collection here. Okay, if you want to remove all the elements from the collection, then how can we remove those elements over here? For that, it is providing a method called as clear method. It is providing a method called as clear method. Now, by using this clear method, what we can do? By using this clear method, we can able to remove all the elements from the collection over here. This method will remove all elements from the collection. Whatever the elements are available, all the elements will be getting removed from the collection by using this particular method here. Now this method is going to be removing all the elements from the specified collection. Whatever the elements are there, it may be from starting to ending, each and every element will be getting removed by default from this particular collection automatically here. So for that, here we are going to be using this clear method, which will remove all the elements from that specified collection to you. Now, then how can we use this element here? Now let's see. Now for that, we have to specify lst names dot clear. Okay, lst names dot clear. So now this is the method that we are going to be using in order to remove all the elements from that specified collection over here. So now here, these are the various methods has been given by the Salesforce to you by default to you. Okay, these are the various methods has been given by the Salesforce to you by default, by which we can able to manage the elements inside these collections over here. Now, we are having the method called as add method. We are having the method called as add integer index position also here. can able to pass that integer index position. Based on that index position also, we can able to add the elements to that here. And then after that, we can able to get the size of that collection by using that size method. And then we can able to identify whether the collection is empty or not. So for that here, we are going to be using that the isEmpty method, where this isEmpty method is going to be identifying whether the specified collection is empty or not. So now in this kind of scenario, if the collection is empty, then it is going to be returning the value as true to you. If the collection is not empty, it is returning that value as false. Now, after that, we are having that add all. In order to add a collection of elements, we are using this add all method. Next one, we are having that get method is available here. The remove method to remove the element based on the index position. Clear method to remove all the elements from that collection here. Along with that, we are having two more methods are also there. Sort method. This method is used to sort the collection elements in ascending order. Whatever the elements are available inside that collection, if you want to sort those elements in the ascending order, then we have to use the method called as sort method. Now the sort method is going to be arranging those elements here, nothing but sorting those elements in the ascending order by default here. There is no reverse sorting method, nothing but descending order method is not available in Salesforce by default. The next method here, the set method. In this set method, we have to specify the index position, and the second one is element name. So what exactly the use of this set element here, set method? Suppose for example, assume that I'm having a collection. So now assume that this is my collection that we have right now. Inside my collection, I'm having so many elements are there. Like I'm having some Hyderabad. I'm having some Apex. I'm having some India. I'm having some Welcome. I'm having some Bangalore. Like that, here some elements are available inside my collection. Now each and every element will be available at a specified index position over here. Okay, every element will be available at a specified index position. Now this element will be at the 0th index position. This is at the first index. This is at the second. This is at the third. This is at the fourth. Like that, here we can able to keep on having some number of elements inside that over here. Now, whenever you are going to be using that set method over here, set of some index position, comma element name, element name. So now in this kind of scenario here, whenever you are using this set method, at that time, if you are passing some value, set of some 2 comma some Australia, then at that time what it will do is, when coming to the index position 2, at this index position 2, whatever the value is available, that value will be getting overridden with this particular new value which you have assigned. So now for that, here we are going to be using this set method. Set method is going to be assigning the new value to that collection element which is available at the specified index position. At that index position, whatever the element is available here, now this element value will be getting overridden with the new value that is called as Australia. So now here in this case, it is going to be overriding this value over here. Okay, so for that we are using set method. This method will override the element value with the new name, nothing but the new element name. The new element name exists at the specified index position. exists at the specified index position here. For example, we can specify a list in names dot set of 1 comma. I would like to specify some collection classes. What are the information that you want? So now these are the various methods available inside this list collection to you here. Then how can we use this list collection? Now let's see practically here. Now as of now, we have discussed the various methods inside this list collection. First of all, what needs to be done? We have to define that list collection here. Now we can define the list collection by using that list and the data type. Nothing but what type of element that you want to store inside that list collection. It may be primitive type. It may be a subject type. It may be collection type. It may be apex type. It may be user defined type, whatever. Everything will be getting stored inside that list collection. And when coming to the list collection supports the nested list collection up to 5 levels. Nothing but up to 5 levels you can able to store that list collection. Nothing but one list we can store into that another list, and one list into another list, like that. Up to 5 levels we can able to store. Now this question is very, very important in the entry point of this. Is a different question in the certification as well. So please remember this question over here. Now let's see how can we implement this functionality practically here. Now I'm logging into my Salesforce application. Now I'm using my execute anonymous window to implement this feature. Now, so now in order to store that collection, first of all, what needs to be done? We have to define the object of the collection here. Define the list collection class object. I'm creating that list collection here. List of string. LST names equals to new list of string. I have defined this list collection here. Then what is the size of this list collection right now? We haven't added any elements here. The collection size is empty, nothing but 0 here. Then how do we know I want to get that collection size here? Display the collection size. I'm getting that collection size system.debug. Collection size is, I want to get the collection size. Object name dot, what is that method? Size method. Now as soon as whenever you are using the size method, the size method is going to be returning how many number of elements available inside this collection. But as of now, we haven't added any elements inside the collection, so that the collection size is empty, nothing but 0. So that it is returning that collection size as 0, nothing but 0 number of elements are there inside that. Click on execute button. Let's see the result here. Now it has to display that collection size as 0, nothing but collection size is 0, nothing but there is no m number of elements here. Only 0 number of elements are there. Now, so now here I would like to add the elements here. I'm adding some elements to the collection here. Then how can we add? We have to use that method called as add method. Now lst names dot add. I'm adding some welcome. So now I'm adding some element here. Apex. Some Hyderabad. Some India. Some 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the elements that I have added here. Now once the elements has been getting added, then I want to show that collection size. System.debug. After adding elements, collection size is, I want to show that collection size. Object name dot size method. Now it is going to displaying that elements to you, number of elements available inside this collection to you here. Now click on execute method. The request has been sent to the server. It has loaded the debug log file. Select the debug only checkbox. Initially the collection size is 0. Once we have added the element, then after adding element, the collection size is 5. Nothing but 5 elements we have added to the collection, so that it is displaying the collection size as 5. Now once the collection size has been displayed, then I want to display the collection elements here. Display the collection elements. Now how can we show the collection elements? For that, here we are having two ways are available again. One is, I want to show the collection elements, all the elements in a single row, or you want to show each and every element in a separate row. Okay, these are two cases are available here. How can we display here? If you want to show all the elements in a single row, here we are using this type of implementation. All elements in a single row. For that, just you have to display that collection name itself here. Collection elements are, I want to show that collection elements here. So that just to specify that collection name, automatically all the elements will be getting displayed to you here. If you want to show all the elements available inside the collection, just to specify the collection object name, then all the elements will be getting visible to you in a single row itself by separating a comma. Let's click on execute. It will display all the elements to you. Select the debug only checkbox. It is displaying the elements welcome, comma, Apex, comma, Hyderabad, comma, India, comma, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nothing but here now let me know whether this collection is an ordered collection or unordered collection. This collection is ordered collection. Whatever the order that you have added the elements, in the same order the elements are available. We have added the elements like this here. Welcome is the first element, and then Apex, and then Hyderabad, and then India, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now when coming to the collection, it is displaying in the same order itself. Welcome, Apex, Hyderabad, India, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nothing but whatever the order that you added the elements, whatever the order the elements are available inside the collection, both are same. Nothing but insertion order is getting preserved inside that list collection to you here. Now that's what list collection is called as an ordered collection here. Now if you want to show elements in a separate row here, separate row, display the elements in separate rows. How can we show the elements in the separate rows here? So for that here, what needs to be done here? How can we show the elements? Anybody? Now the collection of elements are available. How can we get all the collection of elements here? I'm not adding the elements. I'm retrieving the elements. How can we display that elements here?
The get method.
You can use iterator or for loop.
Yeah, nothing but here we have to get the iterator here. Nothing but here, if you're having some 2 elements or 3 elements, then we can able to use the get method here. If I'm having some collection of elements are there, we don't know how many elements are available inside the collection. At that time, we have to use that iterator here. Now then, how can we use this one? Nothing but we would like to use an iterative statement. It may be while loop, or it may be do while, it may be for loop, it may be enhanced for loop, whatever. We can able to use that iterative statement, and we can able to get each and every element from the collection here. So now here I'm using that for loop, and then I would like to use that enhanced for loop also both. How can we fetch the elements? Now we will see practically here. Now for each and every, nothing but integer, index position equals to 0. Nothing but here I'm defining a variable. I'm using the normal for loop here. In the normal for loop, the first part is the variable definition and the initialization. Now I'm defining that variable with the name index, which will be initializing with the 0. Why I'm initializing with 0? Because when coming to the collection, in the listed collection, the elements will be starting from the index position 0. For that, I'm initializing that variable also with the value 0 here. Every time it is incrementing the value by 1, and then we have to verify that condition here. So now the index value is less than collection size. LST names dot size. Nothing but whatever the size that we have for the collection, now this index has to be get repeated up to that collection size here. And then every time it has to increment the value by 1 for the time using index plus plus. Every time we have to get that element value here. Collection element is, I want to show that element here. Then how can we get that element? To get that element, we have to use that collection object name dot get of index position here. Nothing but we have to supply that index position. The index position value is available inside a variable called as index. That's what I'm passing over here, that index here, so that we can able to fetch each and every element from starting to ending inside that. Now click on execute button. Before that, here I'm going to be giving a line break. I'm giving a line break. Now click on execute. The request has been sent to the server. It is loading that response here. Nothing but each and every element will be getting visible to you inside a separate row over here, like as welcome, Apex, Hyderabad, India, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nothing but these are available in the same order to you over here. The next one, I want to display the elements by using enhanced for loop. Then how can we write that code here? So for that, I'm using that. For that, I'm using for each and every string value here. Nothing but element. Element name from the collection here. That is LST names. We can display that element directly over here. System.debug. Collection element name is, I want to show that element name. Directly we can able to get that element also here instead of using that index position. So there is no need of using that index position when coming to the enhanced for loop. Now click on execute. The request has been sent to the server. It has processed the request. Select the debug only. We can able to see each and every element available inside this collection one by one. Now, the next one. Let's verify the next method here. Check for the collection is empty or not. How can we verify? Now we will see practically here. I'm verifying that collection here. When coming to the collection, I'm verifying that if LST names dot is empty. If the collection is empty, then it will return true, or else it will return false to you here. Now, if the empty is empty method is returning true, then it will be entering into that immediate block. Nothing but what happened, the collection is empty here. So that I want to show the message, collection is empty. Nothing but no elements found. And then else part, nothing but if the is method is empty method is returning false, means the collection is not empty, the collection is holding some elements here. System.debug, collection is not empty. I want to show that message here. For that, I'm using that is empty method. By using this is empty method, we can able to verify whether the collection is empty or not. Now let's verify this functionality. Click on execute. The request has been sent to the server, and verify the result. It is giving the message collection is not empty because it is already holding some elements are there, so that collection is not empty. Now, so now here I'm adding the element here. Insert the element at the specified index position. I'm adding this element here. LST names dot add method. Here I'm passing the index position as 1. I'm passing some value as a middle list here. Middle list. I'm passing this value. Once the elements has been getting added, then I want to show the elements again over here. I want to show that elements over here. So now here I'm going to displaying that information after inserting an element. New element. Collection elements are. I want to show that collection element here. Now once the elements has been getting inserted, then after that I would like to show that collection element here. Already the collection size is 5. And along with that, I want to show that collection size over here. System.debug after inserting an element, collection size is, I want to show that collection size. LST names dot size. I would like to get the size of that collection over here. Now click on execute button. Let's verify the result. Now it will be indicating to you whether the collection is empty or not. So the collection size is what? Now, after adding that element here, inserting that element, the collection size is 6. Previously, the elements values are welcome, Apex, Hyderabad, India, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 elements are there. Now we have added one more element with the index position 1. Nothing but 0 means welcome, first means Apex here. Nothing but in the Apex place, the new element will be getting added. This Apex will be getting escalated to the next level here. Now, for that it will be having that welcome. It is having that element called as a welcome. After that, we are having Middle East and then Apex and then Hyderabad and then India and then remaining values available. Nothing but the elements will be getting adjusted automatically by default over here. But in arrays, these are not adjusting. We have to do it manually here through programmatically. Now, after that, I'm adding the duplicate elements to the collection. I'm adding duplicates. LST names dot add of. I'm adding some value India. Nothing but what happened, I'm adding one element called as India. Now this India element is already there inside my collection here. Already we have added this is India is there. But even though whenever we are adding the same element one more time, it will be accepting that element over here. Now already the collection size is 6. Now I want to show that here. After adding the duplicate elements, collection size is, I want to show that collection size. I'm displaying that collection size once our elements has been getting added as a duplicate elements here. Now click on execute. Let's verify that. Now previously the elements are 6. Now after adding this new element, nothing but a duplicate element, it will be having the collection size as 7. Nothing but previously it is 6, now it is 7. Nothing but what happened, even though if it is a duplicate element, duplicate elements also will be getting countable over here. Nothing but duplicate elements are also acceptable when coming to that listed collection that already we have discussed over here. Now, the next one here. Removing an element from the collection.
And the record will be added to the end of the line, right?
Yes. Whenever you are using the add method simply with the element name, this will be adding at the end of the collection. Okay. Now, I'm removing an element here. In order to remove that element, we are using a method called as remove method, where I'm passing the index position as 2. At the index position 2, what is that element here? We are having the element called as Apex. Now this element I would like to remove. Now, I want to show that information here, system.debug. After removing the element, collection size is, I want to show that collection size over here. Now I'm adding that element here. Sorry, I'm removing that element. Once the elements has been getting removed, then I would like to get that collection size over here again. For that, I'm using that remove method here. Now click on execute. Now this element apex will be getting removed. Now the collection size has to be get displayed as 6. Now when you come down for the result, after removing the element, the collection size is 6. Nothing but the apex, element apex will be removed from that collection over here. And the next one. After that, I want to sort the elements here. Sorting the elements. Whatever the elements are available inside the collection, we can able to sort that element by using sort method. Now after sorting that elements, then I would like to show that elements over here. I want to display those elements here. Now after sorting the elements, after sorting collection elements are, I want to show that collection elements here. So now here I'm going to sorting those elements over here. Once the elements has been getting sorted, I want to display those collection elements to you. Now click on execute button. Now the elements has been sorted over here. After sorting that elements, we can able to see that result here by selecting the debug only here. Now after sorting that collection, the collection elements are 1, 2, 4, 3, 4, 5, Hyderabad, India, India, and the Middle East and the welcome. Nothing but in the ascending order, the elements will be getting sorted automatically by default. And then after that, we'll see one more method over here.
There was one question.
Setting the value
Feroz?
existing element. Yeah, tell me, Sridhar.
So once after sorting, whether the index position will be changed for the order, I mean
Yes.
for the list.
Yes, automatically index position will be getting changed by default. Okay.
Oh,
Once the element
okay.
has
Then
been
if
getting sorted, then at that time what needs to be done is we have to maintain your own one more collection. In that one, we can store that sorted elements inside that.
Oh,
Okay. Now,
okay.
so now the listed collection names dot I would like to set. Now for that first element, whatever the value is there, that value I would like to assign with the latest value called as some Australia. Now after assigning that value here, I would like to display those elements information. After assigning. After assigning, the collection elements are. I want to show that collection elements here. This set method is using for what? Whatever the index position that we have, in that index position, whatever the element value is there, that element value will be getting overridden with this new value which we have specified. In order to assigning, set is nothing but setting, nothing but assigning that value here. Now click on execute. Let's go to that results. Now previously we are having the elements are there like as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Hyderabad, and all these things will be available here. At the index position Hyderabad, nothing but 1. Nothing but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 will be at the 0th index position. Hyderabad is at the first position here. At that Hyderabad location, it has overridden that value with the name Australia here. This value will be getting overriding over here. And the next one, if you want to remove all the elements here, remove all elements from the collection. To remove that elements, we have to use a method called as collection name dot clear method. Already we have discussed about that. That clear method is available here. Now by using this clear method, we can able to remove all the elements available inside that collection over here. All the elements we can able to remove inside that collection by using that clear method. Now once you click on that clear method, now I would like to cross check that how many number of elements are available inside my collection right now. So now for that I'm displaying that here. System.debug collection sizes. I want to show that here. lst names dot size. I want to display that collection size over here. Once the elements has been getting added, then I want to show that collection size in order to know how many elements are available inside my collection once all the elements has been getting removed from that collection by using the clear method. Now let's see here. Now let's execute this functionality. Go to that result. Verify the result over here. Now we can able to see that after removing the collection size is 0. Nothing but all the elements has been getting removed so that we can able to get that size as 0. Now this is the way, these are the various methods available inside this collection over here. Now, what are the methods are available? All the methods we have discussed over here. This is the way we are going to be using that collection inside your Apex programming.
Feroz, one more question.
Yeah.
Suppose we have some 50 elements in a list, okay?
Okay.
And we don't know the index position of a particular element.
Okay.
And if we want to remove that element, how can we do that?
No, there is no possibilities there here. If you want to remove the element, then we have to pass that element here. That's the element index position. If you don't know that particular index name, at least you should have the name, right? To remove that element.
Say, for example, we have a list of city names, kind of Chennai, Hyderabad, like that, and we don't know the exact position, I mean index position of that city name. But we know the, suppose if we want to remove a city name like Hyderabad, and we don't know the index position of that city name, how can we remove that?
So now at that time, we have to iterate that collection from starting to ending by using that for loop. And every time we have to compare that whether the element is equals to Hyderabad or not. If it is equals, then we can able to remove that element here. Okay, see, for example, if you want to remove that element here, assume that these are the elements are there inside my collection. I want to remove that element some Hyderabad here. So for that, what needs to be done? For that here, we have to iterate the collection by using for loop. For each and every string, element name from the collection, and then compare that value. If element name is equals to some Hyderabad, then we have to remove that element here. But whenever you are going to be removing this element also, here also we have to identify that index position over here. But here we don't have any index position is available here. If you want to get that index position, then we can able to use that normal for loop. Now we're using that normal for loop, we can able to remove that here. Now for each and every index position, integer, index equals to 0, index is less than the collection names dot size, and then index position incremented by 1. So now here we have to get that, identify that index here, element here. Nothing but we want to get that element name, lst names dot get of that index value. I'm getting that element. If this value is equals to Hyderabad, then I'm going to be removing that element here. lst names dot remove of index. That's it. We can able to iterate that collection from starting to ending by using that index positions. And then for that, we are using that normal for loop. Now we have to start the iteration from starting to ending. Now each and every iteration, we are getting that element here, one element. Now we are getting that element value. We are comparing that element value if it is equals to Hyderabad or not. If it is equals to Hyderabad, then we are going to be removing that element based on that index position over here. So this is the way we can able to remove that element over here from that collection.
Okay, but still this is a costly affair, right?
Yes, this is a costly only here. but we don't have any other alternative option is there here over here. So at that time we can able to go with that one more collection types here, because we are having two more collection types are there, like as the set and the map. We have to use those collection. There we can able to have a method called as find option is available. By using those find option, we can able to remove that. And when coming to the set collection also, we will be having an option removing the element based on the name. That possibility will be there, so that we can able to remove that element here. There we will see practically how can we dump this list of elements, and then how can we remove that element based on that name. We'll see practically there.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Now, so now this is the way we are going to be implementing that list collection. In the next session, we are going to be discussing about two more collections, set collection and the map collection. As we have discussed today, when coming to the collection classes, we have three collections are there. One is the list collection, second one is a set collection, and the third one is a map collection over here. Now, what exactly the set collection? What is the use? What is the map collection? How can we use that? What are the methods available inside that? We'll see in tomorrow's session. Tomorrow we will have the session at 9 o'clock again. The same time we can have the session, and we'll be